Okay, so okay, so I have blood pressure right now. I got home like an hour ago and I'm still kind of aggravated. I've said before, I take the bus. I don't drive. I don't have a car. I am a poor person. I am poor because I'm a failure at life. I say all these things. I wish I wasn't still breathing and taking the air that other people deserve and that I don't deserve. I wish that I just didn't have to be a burden on society. But, for whatever reason, God keeps forcing me to be alive. So, I was on the bus. And again, I have to hear crap from a bus driver. And if you knew how long I've been complaining, I mean, buses don't run right, all kinds of things happen, but I usually don't complain about bus drivers until not only do they suck at driving their bus, but they're jerks to people. Because it's the thing I have. I don't like people being jerks to people. So anyway, the bus driver, when I get on, he's talking to some woman who had just got on the bus and they were being really loud and blah blah blah. And so as he's pulling away from the bus station, somebody wanted the bus, but once they pull away, they're not allowed to stop and pick anybody up. It's dangerous or something, I don't know. So him and this lady are talking loud about it, and he's like, oh well, too bad. And he's like, there's going to be another bus in half an hour. And then somebody was like, oh, that's the second bus you missed or something like that, because I saw the bus pull up, put people in it, and take off. It's like two seconds. So if you're sitting down on the bus terminal, I've complained about this, you got to run out and jump on the bus or else. So anyway, I guess this person had missed. He's like, oh, it's fine, there's another bus in half an hour. There's like 10,000 buses. There's going to be another bus in half an hour. And he's just going on and on and on and on. And he's like, oh, he's not going. He doesn't have to get anywhere. He doesn't have to go to work. Now, I don't know who this person is. I don't know if he knows who he is. But I've heard this bus driver say crap like this before. And they have such disdain for the people that they drive. And it's been bothering me for years. Like I said, I may be completely worthless because I don't have things. I don't have money. I don't have status in this world. I just exist for some reason. I've been over that before. But I sit there and I've listened to bus drivers complain. I mean, there was this thing in this area in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years with people complaining about panhandlers. And I would always say, okay, you're in your car, drive past them. But people would act like the panhandlers were, doing horrible things to them. Now, if they were harassing people, it's a totally different story. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about people just standing there with a sign. Okay, and just by doing that, these people would just hate them. Oh my God. And have to complain about them every time they pass them. There'd be people sitting in the bus, talking with the bus drivers who are complaining about these people. And I'm sitting there listening to the passengers complain and play along with the bus drivers and all this hatred for panhandlers. And I'm like, you're just as poor as them almost. You're like one step from being out there. How are you just pretending to hate them or hating them too? And this whole thing of the last while, I just sit there and I'm like, how can you hate, people who may be homeless, people who may be poor, people, whatever. What is the hate about? And I know, again, this goes back to people make you feel bad because you feel bad for them, but instead of you feeling bad and being honest and being a decent person, you turn it into hate because that person's making you feel bad, because somewhere deep down it's not right for people to not have. But instead of you being honest, you got to get mad and rationalize that you somehow did right and they did wrong and they deserve to be there, and you can hate their guts because now they're making you feel bad. Whatever the hell it is. The point is, just keep driving. You don't have to do anything. Nobody's making you do anything. Nobody's making you feel bad for them. Just keep driving, right? So I've been listening to bus drivers do that all the time. I've been listening to bus drivers for years. Oh no, oh no, oh no, because tomorrow or the next day is going to be the 3rd of the month. Oh no, the bus drivers' lives are going to be an absolute hell because they're going to have to drive the bus on the day when people get their Social Security checks or, anything like that, or they get their food stamps. And God forbid, there's going to be a lot of people taking the bus that day. Do you know why that is? Because by the time you get to the end of whatever check or assistance you get, you've been desperate and you probably eat ketchup packets or whatever. So the minute you get your money, you run to the store to get food so you can have some to eat. So you can get whatever thing you needed that you've been waiting all this time for. Because it sucks being poor. It sucks having to get assistance. But instead, these people will sit there and hate everybody who gets on the bus, have absolute disdain for everybody who gets on the bus. And like I said, they tell themselves something. Now, this guy today with his stuff about, oh, he doesn't have to go to work. He doesn't have to do anything. There's some kind of attitude where, again, they hate everybody who's taking the bus. They assume if somebody's taking the bus during the day that they're not working, which may be true for most people. But they hate them for it. And I always sit there and I'm like, gee, maybe they sound jealous. That's the thing. They sound jealous like all the people are on vacation, like they're having some great paid vacation, and they have to work. They have to have a job. They have to be in a union where they could be the worst bus driver in the world and they're still not going to get fired. And they hate that they're going to have a pension someday. And they hate it's so hard, their job. Meanwhile, these people get to have a paid vacation. And it's like, are you serious? If you're that jealous, trade with them. Quit your job and then be unemployed. Go get assistance. If you're so jealous, if it makes you so angry and you can't stand the unfairness of having a full-time job, especially at this time in the world, when everyone is doing so well, but they hate these people. And the thing that drives me crazy is that, like I said, you should hear when, oh my God, they get more than one wheelchair passenger in a day. They can't take it because now their whole day's ruined. Their schedule's ruined. And sometimes I say to myself, do you hear yourself complaining about somebody in a wheelchair? Would you really rather trade places with that person instead of being the one driving the bus? Would you rather be getting on the bus and having somebody strap you in and having to not be able to walk? Would you rather be that? You want to trade places with them? You want to trade places with the panhandler? You want to trade places with all the people on the 3rd of the month packing your bus? Because you have so much hatred and it sounds like jealousy. If you really think it's unfair, why don't you do that? But here's the kicker that I don't get. And this is what drives me crazy. Like I said, I complained all these years. I know how it works. I know what goes on with the bus. And when bus drivers are decent, that's great. But like I said, I'm just so sick of hearing how horrible and disgusting we are. Because you're not talking. You want to talk like that to another bus driver? Go ahead. Go get online or talk at your bus driver's banquet or, when you're at the bus terminal trading buses, talk to each other. Why do you need to broadcast to everybody? There must have been 20 people in that bus just now. Why broadcast to everybody in the bus how gross and disgusting we all are? Who wants to hear that all day? The thing that I don't think they understand, the only reason they have this job is because these people need assistance. Here's why. Every single bus driver is paid by the government. They may not be a normal state employee, but their money comes from government. The money that goes to pay their checks, the money that will go to pay their pensions, the money that goes to their, whatever health insurance they have, all this stuff, that comes from the government. That comes from the government because the government needs to provide a public service to its people. People who can't afford to drive, don't want to have a horrible carbon footprint, whatever. All these years, and if you don't like it and you think there shouldn't be buses, great, fine, wonderful. But these people, that's their job. That's how they make their money. They should want there to be buses, meaning they should want a lot of people to be driving the bus, because the more ridership there is, the more funding the bus companies get, the more people can be bus drivers, the more service there is. So the fact that they have a job depends on government seeing a need, not a want, a need, and feeling that this need must be met. The more people that ride the bus, the better off bus drivers are. If people stopped riding the bus, the government would say, okay, we're going to cut the number of buses. There'd be less bus drivers. Okay, whatever fare you or me or anybody else puts in, which at this point in time, a lot of places like here did not have the fares, because I don't think the bus drivers even understand that the fares have never paid for the service. The government does that. Again, if you are somebody who is anti-government, if you are somebody who doesn't want to, pay for people to have things or assistance or public transportation or any of that stuff, I understand you being angry. That's your opinion. That's your political thing. Fine, great, but you're not a bus driver. That's not how you're making your money. If you are a bus driver and that's how you're making your money, the more people you see get on your bus, you should be like, yay, my job is even more secure than it was before. Because every single penny that goes, well, not every single, almost every single penny that goes towards the fact that you have a job comes from government supplying people with a public service, which is public transportation, which is a necessity in this world. If everybody lived in walkable areas where you could just walk 2 blocks and get your groceries, walk 2 blocks and get your prescription filled, that's not how it is. That's not how it is. When they made malls, when they made strip malls, when they made supermarkets, like super duper supermarkets, and they're way away from people's homes, you have to take the bus. Sometimes you have to take the bus multiple times a day, because you have to go all the way north to do one part of business. You have to go all the way east to do something else. But these people think you're joyriding all day. They think you're having a big fat old time just riding the bus for fun, going woo! No. You have to get everything done. It takes you 3 hours to do what somebody in a car can do in half an hour. And yet, to them, it's just a big old fat paid vacation. Everybody's just having the time of their life, riding the bus, aggravating the hell out of them, and then just going home and having the best time, just lounging around, doing whatever. Meanwhile, they're just suffering, dealing with all these disgusting people they have to look at who are so gross and below them, and yeah. And I've been hearing it for years. And I've complained for years. Because there's no reason to sit there and pontificate from your bustum throne and think that you are the kings and queens of America, because you're so much better than the people who you're driving in the bus that's not yours, that belongs to the bus company who decided to employ you because they were paid by the government. You would not get any money for your job. Your bus company would not get any money for your job, and you would not have that job if all these gross, disgusting people didn't get in your bus every day. So keep hating them. Maybe they'll go away, and then your job will go away. And then you can be at home having a nice unpaid vacation.